Hi, I'm Jason Inman.
And I'm Ashley Victoria Robinson.
And we're here to answer what is the key to a great Superman story. This is a question given to us by an amazing patron who supports us over at patreon.com/Jawin. Link in the description, Jonathan Adkins. So if you want to be like him, go over there. We'll answer your question. But we're going to answer Jonathan Adkins' question first because he supported us. The key to a great Superman story. Now, that is a difficult question. I don't think there's only one either. I think there are several.
You think writing a character is complicated? What?
I don't know whether you're sassing me or being funny right now.
I'm being sarcastic because Superman is a character.
I thought you were serious for a second. I was like, what is going on here?
Superman is a character who is sustained for 80 plus years at this point.
You got this video.
So there's no way that there's just one answer.
We should have had Superman in the back on this one.
Oh well. Too bad. Too bad, so sad. And Superman is a character that you actually convinced me to read and was a worthwhile character.
Okay, so that's a great. That's a
segue.
Well, no, that's a great way I think to jump into this conversation. Okay, so when we first met, you thought Superman was a dumb character.
Lame.
He was really lame, and I gave you All-Star Superman. And then at the time, Greg Pak and Aaron Cooter were on Action Comics in the New 52, Action Comics 25, which is probably I think the best Superman run in the New 52. And I gave you that because there was a storyline about Superman saving this little blue furry creature, Baka.
You also gave it to me because I didn't know who Lana Lang was.
Yes. Oh, and Lana Lang's in the story. So for you, what were the keys or the elements of that made you love Superman?
So a lot of people come up against the Superman is lame argument. If someone is that powerful,
he's too powerful.
How can you empathize with them? You know, that's the reason why so many people connect to the Bat family of characters, even though none of us could ever be that because we would die and we're not that rich.
Yes. We're not billionaires.
For me, the key to it, and this is something that I learned from you, is you have to bring Superman to our level. You have to be able to empathize with Superman because he's not human. And you can be like, well, I can empathize with my cat, or I can empathize with a gremlin. But it's harder.
You can empathize with a gremlin?
Well, I don't know. I was trying to think of
it's fine.
Some cute fuzzy character, and I went to, that thing with no forehead. I can empathize with that.
Ashley thinks gremlins are cute.
I don't, actually.
Spider gremlins are favorite. It's a Gremlins 2 reference for you all.
No, please don't send me gremlins. Or I think Slimer, I can empathize with Slimer or whatever, whatever. I lost the train of my
I don't know where you're going now.
But it's easier to empathize with
Jonathan, we're sorry. No.
With someone that you can recognize yourself in. And so you have to bring Superman down to a level, even if he's punching a giant alien, you have to understand on a human level why he's doing that. And so for me, the in with Superman was to understand all of the characters around him and those motivations. And Lana, for me personally, as a young woman, was a character that was a really easy entry point. And so if you can understand why Superman loves Lana, then you understand why he's supporting her throughout the storyline. Then you understand why when the little blue creature shows up, also he looked like Nightcrawler, so I was smitten immediately. Then you can understand why they care about him. And if you can take a Superman story and turn it into an allegory or a morality tale, then I'm in from the beginning, because it's really great to watch Superman fight a giant space alien, but there's no heart. And to me, Superman is all heart.
Yeah.
Do you want to expound on that?
No, you nailed it. That is the key to a great Superman story. It has to be about the heart. It cannot be about the punching. It cannot be about how fast he can move or how powerful he is or how bright his red laser eyes are. It has to be about the heart, because the easiest way to understand Superman is simply this, is that Superman has the power to burn the earth to a cinder. But he chooses not to.
And examining why is very interesting.
Exactly. So it's all about why doesn't he? The simple answer is the heart. The simple answer is because he is an orphan who was loved by these two Kansas farmers, two people who at any point could have been like, gross alien, and thrown him away, and they did not. And then they instilled in him the advantages is that because he grew up in this environment, because he grew up in a small town, because he grew up removed from most of the world, he got to have a happy childhood. And over the course of his life, he has lived every example, everything he's ever done in his life is based off of the example that Jonathan and Martha, his adopted parents, have given him, that you should love something first and not hate / deny it / get rid of it.
Discriminate,
you open up to it with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
The Superman, that's why I love the moments, and Brian Michael Bendis has been clever with it in Action Comics, is that Superman, every time he meets a supervillain, should always at first be like, I'm giving you a chance. Stand down. Tell me your beef.
Yeah.
What's up? I'm here to talk. Batman doesn't talk to heroes. Batman punches them in the face, throws a knife in their shoulder.
Yeah.
Superman's the hero. It's like, whoa, hey, you cool? Can I help you?
Can we hug this out?
And then if they don't talk to him, that's when Superman punches him in the face.
And I think if you think about what are your personal favorite Superman moments, they all come from that. Like for me, one of the most exciting things to happen to Superman in the modern age is the addition of Jonathan.
Yes.
It's Jonathan Kent. I didn't understand how much I needed that little Superboy to like complete my mental picture of who Superman was.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think that element helped because by Clark teaching his son, you get to see, he's kind of teaching the reader how to be Superman.
I think so. And it's also the culmination of his love with Lois, and the fact that he looks up to Lois and admires her and she makes him better.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need Lois at all. He's this omnipotent God being. So like John is a literal representation of everything that Superman loves, and I think that's great.
Well, see, and here's the thing about it. Like, so here's another key to a great Superman story. A great Superman story has a great supporting cast. Superman has one of the greatest supporting casts in all of comic books. I would argue he has the greatest supporting cast in all of comic books. Now, I think there is an argument to be made for Batman. There is an argument to be made for Spider-Man. Spider-Man also has an amazing supporting cast. But for me personally, I think Superman's is the best because Superman has surrounded himself with people like him. So Clark is this character, right? He's super powerful. He can do anything he wants. He can kill anybody he wants.
Yeah.
He doesn't, right? And then he chooses to be like, instead of being Superman all the time, he's like, no, I want a normal life because I'm a normal person. So he surrounds himself with these other people that are so capable at their jobs.
They're extraordinary.
They're extraordinary because at every other point, they've been told as well, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. Lois Lane had to fight her way to the top reporter position at every port. She's an army brat raised by a dad who at every point says, I wish I had a son.
Man, if you want to hear how much Jason loves Lois Lane, please ask us to
I love
do
Lois
that
Lane.
video.
Lois Lane is the greatest female character in the DC universe. I'm sorry, Wonder Woman, but and the reason why Superman loves Lois Lane so much is because she is, in his opinion, the greatest human being of all time, because she lets nothing stop her. Get in a helicopter? Cool. Jump off a building? Cool. Do this? Cool. She doesn't care. She gets the story, doesn't care. Jimmy Olsen is a dweeb who his parents does not like him, but at every moment he's been told, you cannot be a photographer, you cannot go to the big city. What does he do? He goes to the big city, he does it. Perry White's the same way. If you know any of the origins about Perry White, originally, his original origin story, and they've kind of melded it, is that you see that he grew up in the Depression, and that everybody told him that he was a bad writer, and so he worked his way up. And he's in control of the paper that he dreamed since a boy that he wanted to work at. So they're all characters like Clark who have been told, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Even Lex Luthor is that character. He had a terrible father who was like, you can't do this, Lex, you can't be a smart scientist, you can't do this. What did Lex Luthor do? He did it. Now, he did it in the wrong way. That's, part of the thing. So that, to me, is a key, is if you're going to introduce a new character into Superman's story, they have to be a mirror or similar to that. They have to be a human that has been told, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. And either they succeed in the right way doing that, or they succeed in the wrong way doing that, making them a villain.
And I think that's because all great Superman stories, and by association all great Superman characters, have one foot where they were created during the Depression.
Yes.
So people during that time had to overcome incredible obstacles, and Superman reflects that. And Superman is one of the only characters that can still have a foot in that world without feeling silly or without feeling held back. Wonder Woman has had to make a lot of leaps from her origin. And I like Golden Age Wonder Woman a lot, but she's had to come a long way to be a hero for the modern age. Batman as well, because Batman represents the 1%, and we don't like that anymore.
Well, that's also too what I've said many times, that I think it would be amazing to see a Superman movie set in the set in the Depression. It'd be so good. So to me, it'd be heart. You have to have family, because family has to be a part of it, because I think Superman sees everybody on Earth as his family.
And family doesn't necessarily mean parents, children, but the Superman family.
The family feel. Like, you got to have a family feel. And now I'm saying that you can totally have a dark story, but like you've got to feel that element of family. So to me, that's it. And that's, you can apply that in a lot of different ways. A lot of different ways. I'm struggling to come up with examples right now.
Well, I would say, whenever we want to wrap this up, why don't we say what some of our favorite Superman stories are?
Do you want to go first?
Because to me, I can go first. My favorite Superman story is All-Star Superman #6, where Pa Kent dies. And I think it's so incredible because he dies of a heart attack, which is so little and so small, and Clark can't save him. And it's the most crushing defeat. And if you've ever had your parents die, you think your parents are immortal, and Superman probably is immortal. So I just think the genius in that storytelling, it makes me cry every time I read it, and it makes me emotional to talk about it, because Superman can do that in a way that other characters can't, because he's just literally getting to the heart. It's just sort of ironic that it's a heart attack. But that's my single issue. That's my all-time favorite Superman story.
All-Star Superman is my favorite comic book of all time. So that whole series is great. Superman Adventures are some amazing, great comic books. Superman Rebirth, written by Patrick Tomasi and
Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason.
Excuse me, Patrick Gleason and Peter Tomasi. Excuse me, I got them interchanged.
Patrick Tomasi.
It's out there right now. That's the storyline she's talking about with John. It is great. And you have to give to Smallville. You have to give some credit to Smallville. Smallville has some amazing episodes in it. One of my favorite Smallville episodes is in season 9. It's where he wears the black trench coat season, and it's the episode with the Wonder Twins. And I know what you're saying right now. You're like, what the hell are you talking about? But the whole episode is about that the Wonder Twins, Jan and Zaina, are also metahumans, and they have been inspired by Clark, because at this time Clark has been running around the city so fast, and they call him the Blur because nobody can get a picture of him. But he saves people, so they've been inspired by the Blur, and they keep screwing up. And so they actually save him at one point, and they save him from revealing his identity to Lois, because at this time Lois doesn't know he's Superman or the Blur. And he tracks them down, and he shows up, and he hides his face at first so they can't see them, and then he steps in the light, and they're like blown away because this is their hero.
Yeah.
And so they say a question, they'll be like, what happens if we mess up? Like, what do we do? And he turns around and says the most Superman line I have ever heard. I'm going to paraphrase this so badly. He says, when we're out there, when we're protecting them, we have to be perfect. And to me, if that's not family, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
Like, that is the core of Superman. And to me, I always say in that series, that's the first time I felt he was Superman. Took 9 years to get there, whatever. But
that was so shady.
That is a topic for another video.
Yeah,
why didn't you just put on the suit? But there's some great Superman storylines, but you need heart. You attack Superman with his heart, because you can't stop him physically. And then you got to surround him with family. And I think those are the keys to great Superman stories. So, Jonathan Adkins, right?
Yes. Also, a lovely person online. Please go interact with him. He's a wonderful human being.
I forgot. Jonathan, thank you so much for your question. And thank you for your support. Oh, here's your compliment. I think he's the best Adkins this side of the Mississippi.
Wow.
That's high praise. Okay, so if you want to be like Jonathan, head on over to patreon.com/Jawin, Jawin. There's a link in the description, and select the Mind University producer tier. You'll get your question answered in a video similarly to like this. And I can't promise that the compliment will be better than what Jonathan got. So that's all I'm just saying right there. So get in the comments, tell us what your thoughts on Smallville are. And while you're down there, click subscribe.
And for more exclusive geeky content, check out patreon.com/Jawin. Join us in the Hall of Justice, be a Superman, be a producer on this channel. Yeah.